First contact. The silver observation deck of orbital station Heimdall hummed with nervous energy as Dr. Sarah Chen adjusted her microscope for the 10th time in 5 minutes. "You'll wear out that dial before our guests arrive," said Alex with a smirk as he handed her a steaming cup of coffee. Sarah accepted it gratefully. "Can you blame me? First official contact with an advanced alien civilization, and somehow I'm the one they picked to lead the science team?" "Because you're the best xenobiologist we have," Alex replied, "though I still think it's strange they specifically requested you by name." Sarah's brow furrowed. "That's what worries me. They shouldn't even know who I am." The station's intercom crackled to life. "Attention all personnel. Azurite diplomatic vessel docking in 10 minutes. All designated first contact team members report to Hangar Bay 3. Sarah took a deep breath. "Here we go." The massive hangar bay doors slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a vessel unlike anything human engineering had ever produced. Sleek and iridescent, the ship seemed to shimmer between states of matter, as if it couldn't decide whether to be solid or liquid. Commander Isabel Reyes stood beside Sarah, rigid in her formal uniform. "Remember the protocols, Dr. Chen. No sudden movements, no unauthorized sampling, and absolutely no physical contact." "I've memorized the manual, Commander," Sarah whispered, not taking her eyes off the ship. A seam appeared along the vessel's hull, widening into a doorway from which emerged 3 figures. The 2 flanking aliens were clearly guards with ceremonial armor that caught the light in hypnotic patterns, but it was the central figure that caused Sarah's breath to catch. The alien queen stood taller than her guards, her skin a deep royal purple that seemed to glow from within. Long silver hair cascaded down her back in elaborate braids adorned with what appeared to be living gems. Her eyes, most striking of all, were entirely black except for pinpoints of violet light where pupils should be. "That's their queen?" Isabel whispered. "The briefing said we'd be meeting with diplomats." Sarah couldn't respond. Her entire focus was locked on the approaching queen, who moved with impossible grace despite the station's artificial gravity. The queen stopped precisely 2 meters away. Her gaze swept over the human delegation before settling directly on Sarah. The scientist felt a strange pressure behind her eyes, as if someone was gently pressing against her thoughts. "I am Kyra," the queen spoke, her voice melodic with an undertone that seemed to vibrate in Sarah's chest. "Supreme Sovereign of the Azurite Empire, we have traveled far to meet with Earth's people." Her eyes never left Sarah's. "Particularly you, Dr. Sarah Chen." Isabel stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we're honored by your presence, but I must ask how you know Dr. Chen's name when we've never shared personnel information." Kyra's lips curved into what might have been a smile. "Some connections transcend conventional introductions, Commander Reyes. Some souls recognize each other across the void." Sarah felt heat rise to her cheeks as Kyra addressed her directly. "Your work on xenobiological adaptation is impressive, Doctor, even by our standards." "You've read my research?" Sarah asked, forgetting protocol completely. "We have been observing your scientific archives for some time," Kyra replied. "Your insights on cross-species biological compatibility were particularly interesting to me." Before Sarah could respond, Kyra stepped forward, closing the distance between them. The guards tensed, and Isabel's hand moved subtly toward her sidearm. "I have waited a long time to meet you, Sarah Chen," Kyra said softly. "Tonight when you dream, remember that some things are more than dreams." Sarah felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. The room seemed to tilt, and for a brief moment she swore she could see stars swirling in the depths of Kyra's eyes. "The formal negotiations begin tomorrow," Kyra announced, turning back to the others. "For now, we require rest. I look forward to our discussions, Dr. Chen." As the Azurite delegation was escorted to their quarters, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental had just shifted in her life, something that had begun long before today's meeting. That night, Sarah dreamed of purple skin against her own, and stars burning in eyes black as space itself. Dreamwalker. Sarah woke with a start, her nightgown clinging to her body with sweat, her heart racing as if she'd run a marathon. The dream had been so vivid. Kyra's touch on her skin, those star-filled eyes looking into hers, words whispered in a language she somehow understood despite never hearing it before. "Just stress," she muttered, pushing tangled hair from her face. "Just my brain processing yesterday's encounter." A soft chime from her desk terminal indicated an incoming message. Sarah squinted at the bright screen in the darkness of her quarters. "Dr. Chen, the Azurite delegation has requested your presence for breakfast. Commander Reyes has approved 0700 hours in the diplomatic suite," read the message from Alex. Sarah glanced at the clock. 0600. Barely enough time to shower and collect her thoughts after that unsettling dream. As warm water cascaded over her shoulders, she tried to rationalize the intense emotions still lingering from her sleep. "It's natural to dream about significant events," she told herself, "especially first contact with a purple alien queen who somehow knows your name." The diplomatic suite had been transformed overnight. The sterile meeting space now featured strange crystalline growths that emitted soft, pulsing light. The air smelled of something like cinnamon and ozone. Not unpleasant, but decidedly alien. "Dr. Chen," Kyra's pneumatic voice came from behind her. "I trust you slept well." Sarah turned, professional smile firmly in place despite the flutter in her stomach. "Your Majesty, yes, thank you for asking." Kyra tilted her head slightly, a knowing look in those bottomless eyes. "Did you dream, Sarah?" The casual use of her first name, the directness of the question, both caught Sarah off guard. "Yes, actually. How did you know?" "Please, sit with me." Kyra gestured to a low table set with unfamiliar foods. "Your Commander Reyes and my guards will join us shortly, but I wished for a moment alone with you." Sarah hesitated, but took the seat across from the Queen. Up close, Kyra's purple skin had subtle patterns that seemed to shift like oil on water. "My people are dream walkers, Sarah. It is how we first found Earth, through the dreams of your scientists and explorers who looked to the stars with longing." "That's not possible," Sarah replied, her scientific mind immediately rejecting the notion. "Dreams are just neural activity during sleep. They can't transmit across space." Kyra's lips curved upward. "Your science has yet to discover many things. Consciousness exists beyond physical limitations. It was your dreams that called to me most strongly." "My dreams?" Sarah's voice came out as a whisper. "For 3 of your Earth years, I have visited your sleeping mind. Last night was simply the first time you remembered upon waking." Sarah felt the room spin slightly. "That's why you requested me specifically. You've been inside my head?" "Not an invasion, Sarah. A connection." Kyra reached across the table, her hand stopping just short of touching Sarah's. "The dreams we shared. They were real." The door slid open as Commander Reyes entered with Alex and the Azurite guards. Kyra withdrew her hand smoothly, as if the intimate conversation had never happened. Throughout breakfast, Sarah struggled to focus on the diplomatic discussions. Her scientific mind battled against Kyra's impossible claim, yet something deeper recognized its truth. Occasionally, when others were speaking, Kyra would meet her eyes with that same knowing look. Later, in her lab, Sarah analyzed blood samples the Azurites had voluntarily provided. Alex worked quietly beside her, sensing her distraction. "You okay? You've been staring at the same cellular structure for 20 minutes. "Do you believe in telepathy, Alex?" Sarah asked abruptly. He raised an eyebrow. "Scientifically, no evidence supports it,
But after meeting actual aliens yesterday, I'm questioning a lot of what I thought was impossible." Sarah nodded, turning back to her microscope. The azurite cells exhibited strange properties, resonating at frequencies that shouldn't be possible for organic matter. That night, Sarah hesitated before bed, both dreading and anticipating sleep. When she finally surrendered to exhaustion, Kyra was waiting in her dreams. They stood together on a crystalline beach beneath 3 moons, waves of something like mercury lapping at their feet. "This is Azuria," Kyra said, her hand finally taking Sarah's. "This isn't real," Sarah insisted, even as she felt the cool night air on her skin. Kyra smiled, pulling her closer. "When you told me it was just a dream last night, I knew you weren't ready for the truth. But I've waited too long to accept lies between us." "What truth? What are you talking about?" Instead of answering, Kyra leaned forward, pressing her lips against Sarah's. In that moment, memories flooded back. Hundreds of shared dreams across years, intimate conversations, growing feelings, promises made. Sarah broke away, gasping. "How could I forget all this?" "Your conscious mind wasn't ready," Kyra whispered against her ear. "But now that we've met in the waking world, you won't forget again. Tomorrow, when you wake, you'll remember everything." "Why me?" Sarah asked, trembling as Kyra's fingers traced patterns on her arm. "Because your soul calls to mine across the stars, and I have claimed you as my queen consort, whether your Earth is ready for such a union or not."
The royal claim. Commander Cooper paced the length of the security office, hands clasped behind his back as he watched the surveillance footage for the 3rd time. On screen, Dr. Chen and Queen Kyra sat in the botanical garden, their heads tilted toward each other in what appeared to be intimate conversation. "I don't like it," he muttered to Isabel, who stood beside him with arms crossed. "Chen's getting too close to the alien queen. This goes beyond scientific curiosity." Isabel frowned. "Sarah is our leading xenobiologist, Cooper. Her job requires building rapport." "Rapport?" Cooper gestured sharply at the screen, where Kyra's purple hand rested mere centimeters from Sarah's on the bench. "That looks like a hell of a lot more than professional rapport." "What exactly are you suggesting?" Isabel's voice took on a dangerous edge. Cooper ran a hand through his short-cropped hair. "I'm suggesting our chief scientist might be compromised. The Azurites requested her specifically, which was suspicious from the start. Now they're inseparable." "You're overreacting," Isabel replied, though her expression betrayed her own concern. "Am I?" Cooper pulled up another file on his tablet. Chen's brain scans from her mandatory physical this morning showed unusual activity in her limbic system and frontal cortex, activity that wasn't present before the Azurites arrived. In the botanical garden, Sarah felt more awake than she had in years. Each dream memory that had returned to her consciousness felt like recovering a piece of herself she hadn't known was missing. "Your Commander Cooper is watching us again," Kyra noted, without turning toward the barely concealed security camera. "His distrust radiates like heat." Sarah sighed. "He's just doing his job. Humans have good reason to be cautious about first contact." "Is that why you haven't told anyone about our dream walking?" Kyra's voice held no accusation, merely curiosity. "How could I? Excuse me, Commander, but I've apparently been psychically dating an alien queen for 3 years in my sleep. Wouldn't exactly inspire confidence in my mental stability." Kyra's laugh was like silver bells. "Dating? Is that what humans call it when souls recognize each other across vast distances and form an unbreakable bond?" "What would your people call it?" Sarah asked, her cheeks warming despite her scientific objectivity. "Viashirai," Kyra replied, the words somehow both spoken aloud and resonating directly in Sarah's mind. "Soul-claiming. It is rare even among Azurites. When it happens, it is celebrated as the highest blessing." Sarah felt her heart quicken. "And that's what you believe happened between us?" "It is not belief, but fact.
Kyra replied, her star-filled eyes intense. "Tonight, in the dream realm, I will show you the true depth of our connection." Before Sarah could respond, the garden doors slid open and Cooper strode in with 2 security officers. "Dr. Chen, you're needed for an emergency briefing," he announced, his posture rigid. Kyra's expression remained serene, but Sarah felt a ripple of displeasure emanating from the Queen. "We were in the middle of an important cultural exchange, Commander." "I'm afraid this can't wait," Cooper replied, not meeting the alien Queen's gaze. "Earth Defense Command has some concerns about the upcoming treaty signing." Sarah reluctantly stood. "I'll return as soon as possible, Your Majesty." "See that you do," Kyra replied, something possessive in her tone that made Cooper's jaw tighten visibly. The emergency briefing turned out to be Cooper alone in the secure conference room, pacing like a caged animal. "What's going on between you and the alien Queen?" he demanded without preamble. Sarah kept her expression neutral. "I'm establishing diplomatic and scientific rapport, as per my assignment." "Don't play games, Chen. Your brain scans show abnormal activity patterns. The Azurite delegation requests your presence at all hours. You're even starting to move differently." "Move differently?" Sarah repeated, genuinely confused. "Like them," Cooper gestured vaguely. "Fluid, almost hypnotic. It's subtle, but it's there." Sarah's scientific curiosity temporarily overrode her annoyance. "Fascinating. Unconscious mimicry is a known phenomenon when humans spend significant time with—" "This isn't a research opportunity," Cooper slammed his hand on the table. "I think they're doing something to you, some kind of alien influence." Sarah's patience evaporated. "That's ridiculous. The Azurites have been nothing but cooperative." "Then explain why Queen Kyra announced to her entire delegation this morning that she has claimed you as her consort." The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. She what?" Cooper's expression turned triumphant. "So you didn't know. One of our translators overheard it. Apparently, in Azurite culture, a royal consort is more than a spouse. It's a permanent biological and psychological bond." Sarah struggled to keep her expression composed as memories of last night's dreams surged forward. Kyra's words about soul claiming, the promise to show her the true depth of their connection. "I'm sure it's a translation error," she managed. "Is it? Or is there something you're not telling me, Doctor?" Sarah met his gaze steadily. "I'm telling you that I'm performing my duties as Earth's xenobiological liaison, nothing more. Then you won't mind if I reassign you to the medical bay for the remainder of the Azurite's visit, for your own protection." "You can't do that," Sarah protested. "The treaty negotiations will proceed without you," Cooper finished. "Until we understand exactly what's happening between you and Queen Kyra, you're too much of a security risk." As Sarah left the conference room under escort, she felt a familiar pressure behind her eyes. Kyra, reaching out across the station. "Tonight," the Queen's voice whispered directly into her mind, "no matter where they place you, no human barriers can separate what has been claimed in the dream realm." Sarah shivered, both frightened and exhilarated by the intensity of Kyra's prowess.
Between two worlds. Sarah paced her quarters, now effectively a gilded prison. The security lock glowed red on her door as Aria's soothing voice emanated from the ceiling. "Dr. Chen, your vital signs indicate elevated stress. Would you like me to dispense a mild sedative?"
"No, thank you, Aria," Sarah replied, running her fingers through her disheveled hair. "I need to think clearly." The AI hesitated before continuing in a lower tone.
"Dr. Chen, I've detected unusual energy patterns emanating from your neural activity. These patterns match frequencies in the Azurite communication spectrum." Sarah froze. "You can detect that?" "My sensors were upgraded after first contact. Commander Cooper ordered me to monitor for potential alien influences," Aria explained. "However, I found no evidence that these patterns are harmful to you." Sarah sat heavily on her bed. "They're not harmful, Aria. They're a connection." "With Queen Kyra," the AI stated rather than asked. Sarah nodded,
surprised to find herself confiding in the station's artificial intelligence. "We shared dreams. It sounds crazy, but it's real. We've been connected for years, long before they arrived." "Fascinating," Arya replied. "This contradicts Commander Cooper's theory that you're being controlled." "Cooper doesn't understand," Sarah whispered. "Neither did I until recently." The lights in her quarters suddenly flickered, then dimmed to a purple hue. Sarah felt the familiar pressure behind her eyes intensify. "She's reaching out to you now. The energy signatures are unmistakable." Sarah closed her eyes, surrendering to the connection. Kyra's presence flooded her mind, warm and enveloping. "My Sarah," Kyra's voice echoed in her thoughts. "Your Commander Cooper cannot keep us apart." "He's placed guards outside my door," Sarah thought back, still amazed at how natural this telepathic communication felt. "Physical barriers mean nothing to our kind. Tomorrow I will make my formal claim before both our peoples. It is time they understood the true purpose of our arrival on your station." "Wait," Sarah projected urgently. "What do you mean, true purpose?" But Kyra's presence was already receding, leaving only the echo of her determination behind. "Dr. Chen, Commander Cooper is approaching your quarters with security personnel." Sarah's eyes snapped open. "Arya, what should I do?" The AI's voice dropped to a whisper. "Follow your connection, Dr. Chen. My analysis suggests the Ozerites offer no threat to humanity, only change." Before Sarah could respond, her door slid open to reveal Cooper's stern face. "Dr. Chen," he said without preamble, "we've detected unusual energy signatures throughout the station, all focused on your quarters." Sarah stood tall. "I know what you think is happening, Commander, but you're wrong. The Azurites aren't our enemies. They're claiming one of our chief scientists as some kind of alien consort. How is that not hostile?" "Because I accept her claim. And tomorrow you'll understand why." Dreams become reality. The observation deck had been transformed into a ceremonial chamber. Azurite crystals pulsed with inner light around the perimeter, while Earth officials sat rigidly in their formal uniforms, tension evident in every line of their bodies. Sarah stood in the center beside Kyra, their hands nearly touching. Commander Cooper watched from the front row, his expression thunderous. Beside him, Alex offered Sarah an encouraging smile, while Isabel maintained her professional neutrality. "People of Earth and Azaria, we came to your world not merely for trade or alliance, but because we detected a soul resonance, a vyashirai, between our peoples." Murmurs rippled through the human delegation as Arya quietly translated the unfamiliar term. "For generations, my people have searched the stars for compatible souls, those whose consciousness could merge with ours, creating bonds that transcend physical form." Cooper leaned forward. "Is this some kind of colonization strategy?" "No, Commander," Kyra replied calmly. "It is evolution. Separately, our species face limitations. Together, we become something greater." Sarah stepped forward. "I've experienced this connection firsthand. What began in dreams has become real understanding. The Azurites aren't here to conquer Earth. They're offering us the stars." "And you believe this?" Cooper demanded. "I've seen it. In the dream realm, I've walked on Azuria, experienced their culture, felt their sincerity." Kyra's fingers finally interlaced with Sarah's, sending visible pulses of energy spiraling up their arms. "The treaty we offer includes not just technology exchange, but biological compatibility, beginning with my claim on Dr. Chen, if she accepts." All eyes turned to Sarah. In that moment, she felt the weight of two civilizations watching her choice. "I accept," she said clearly. "Not just for myself, but as the first of what I hope will be many bridges between our worlds." As their hands fully clasped, Sarah and Kyra began to glow with soft purple light. Sarah felt her self-consciousness expanding, touching minds throughout the room. Cooper's fear, Alex's wonder, Isabel's cautious hope. "This is what we offer," Kyra said, her voice now somehow speaking directly into everyone's thoughts. "Not domination, but connection. Not the loss of humanity, but its evolution." The light between them intensified, forming a visible bond that pulsed with each shared heartbeat. Sarah felt herself changing, not becoming less human, but becoming more, her awareness expanding beyond physical limitations. "I told her it was just a dream, but the truth was always more beautiful." As the ceremonial light enveloped them both, Sarah knew she stood between worlds, no longer fully human, not quite Azurite, but something wonderfully new. And in Kyra's star-filled eyes, she saw not just her future, but humanity's next great adventure. Cooper slowly rose from his seat, resignation replacing suspicion. "So this is First Contact's true purpose?" "No, Commander," Kyra replied gently. "This is merely its beginning." Sarah smiled as the connection between them stabilized, feeling both worlds, Earth and Azuria, now equally part of her consciousness. What had begun in dreams had become her waking reality, and through her, perhaps a new chapter for both their peoples.